Welcome to the very first episode of Digital Connections, the podcast. Digital Connections brings in expert advice to connect you with the services and resources to build a successful business and ultimately to create the life of your dreams. The show is for entrepreneurs, business owners, and anyone interested in running a side hustle to their current 9-to-5. One episode at a time, we're going to help you build a successful business through amazing digital connections. Now, I'm a huge podcast listener, and the first thing I ask when I start a new business podcast is, why should I be listening to this person? Who are they? Are they actually qualified to be handing out advice? So that's where we'll start. I'm your host, Nancee Johnson, a successful business owner and digital marketer. I did work a corporate gig at a large software company for over 15 years, and it was an amazing experience. I learned a lot about the technology world, but even more about myself. While I had a ton of opportunities in that world, I ultimately felt stagnant and like I wasn't giving everything I could to the world. And I needed to break free. So I did. I left to go into voiceover and pursue my passion of writing through helping other writers with their marketing. But this too left me wanting. I wanted to be able to leverage all those skills I had acquired while working at that major corporation. And I wanted to help more companies become more successful through the knowledge that I had gained. And so I discovered WSI. WSI is a full-service digital marketing franchise located in 80 countries with over 1,000 independent agencies with thousands and thousands of consultants around the world. With WSI, I was able to have the brand backing and the back office support I had come to know and love working at a major corporation, but I was able to make the decisions I wanted to in my business. I was able to work directly with the client doing something I absolutely love, digital marketing. I now have a successful independent digital marketing agency working throughout the United States. And along the way, I've found amazing resources that can help your business thrive too. The main reason, though, that you should trust me is that I believe everyone needs a friend in digital marketing. Digital marketing is about connecting people, and the business resources I'm going to introduce you to come from the massive connections I've made through this business. Whether it's through digital marketing techniques or through a personal introduction, I'm that friend that's going to get you digitally connected. And with that, I would love to introduce my first guest, who's going to help us sort out exactly what I mean when I say digital marketing. So Ryan Kelly is a principal, chief operating officer, and chief strategist for WSI Smart Marketing. Ryan has 13 years of highly successful sales and marketing experience in internet solutions and sales. He has assisted countless companies in developing and achieving profitable business strategies and goals through advanced online digital marketing solutions. Although he has a passion for digital marketing, he especially loves the speaking, teaching, and mentoring aspects of his work. Ryan's experience in marketing, sales, and training keep him in high demand as a speaker. He has been invited as a guest lecturer at Sonoma State University and has spoken at such venues as the WSI Conference in Montreal, Quebec, as well as WSI regional conferences throughout the United States. I will also note that I consider Ryan a personal mentor, and my initial meeting with Ryan helped me make one of the best decisions of my life, which was to invest in a WSI franchise. I also have to point out that when I asked Ryan what the topic of his show should be, he said, "Why the pandemic didn't kill my clients' businesses." I'd say that's a pretty good reason to be talking to Ryan. So Ryan, welcome to the show.
It's a total honor to be here, and your inaugural show, like, what? That's so cool. That's so crazy. So thank you for having me, and I hope that through what I say and what I talk about, your listeners and your fans can gain some information, something helpful. Like, if you're going to give us your time, we're going to try to give you something valuable. So listen in.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ryan. So let's start off in the most obvious of places. Tell me what digital marketing is.
Okay. So digital marketing, it's interesting. Some people say SEO when they're talking about digital marketing. Some people say pay per click when they talk about digital marketing. But digital marketing is kind of like the analogy I would use, like a general contractor, right? Digital marketing is like a general contractor. You have your painters, your plumbers, your window people, your flooring people. and they all do a little of everything, and they're all licensed contractors, but you have a general contractor that does a little bit of all of those things and manages all of those different subcontractors. That is kind of what digital marketing is. Digital marketing is like leveraging all of the different ways digitally that you want your brand or business to be found by your desired demographic. So digital being the key word there means like websites, social media, directory listings, like what is it? Digitally, video, images, like digital marketing. That's the best answer I got for you.
All right. Well, tell me why I or another business, why we should even care.
Okay. Did you know that the internet outpaced the yellow pages in just a couple of years back in the day? And did you know that now that the pandemic has happened, the internet is now outpacing itself from before? What's ended up happening is that the standard growth of the internet for digital marketing over the course of the decade has looked kind of like this. But now you add in
Like
the
it's
pandemic,
going up.
it's going up. But what's
Mm-hmm.
happened with the pandemic is it's suddenly going steeper. And here's why. More people who have relied on referrals, more people that have relied on their brick and mortar businesses, their local restaurant, more people have relied on what was that did not include internet marketing or digital marketing before the pandemic, where now we're seeing another surge of all of the non-adopters, not the late adopters, not the early adopters, the non-adopters are all suddenly panicking and getting online. So when we talk about the why, it's actually never been more important to make sure that your brand or your business or your product or your service or whatever is valuable to you is accessible to everybody from anywhere. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, since we're on the subject, you kind of covered a little bit, but let's talk about what are the different digital marketing products that are out there.
Oh my gosh. So I'll talk to you about like the ones that are near and dear to my heart that I love. And I'll warn you, we stay in our lane, right? So I'm going to share with you what my lane is, and then there's lots of other lanes. But our lane, WSI's lane, like if you're looking for help from Nancee and Ryan, these are the kinds of things that you would say. Man, I got a great website, but nobody can find it. All right, there's a solution for that. Man, I've got a great website and tons of people are finding it, but nobody's buying, nobody's calling. The conversion isn't happening. What is broken? Another regular, what somebody might mention that'll explain what our product lines are, is I have a great website. I have a lot of people buying from this channel. What's next? I don't know what's next. Where do I go from here? I've experienced some success. What's the next stage? So those are the kinds of things that we regularly hear. We regularly hear, I have a company we're already working with that's working on our traffic that we think isn't good, that's working on us being found online. We can't find ourselves anywhere, and we're paying them a fortune. Well, you need somebody that can audit, go in and audit your marketing, right? So when we talk about what WSI, which by the way stands for We Simplify the Internet.
Yes, it does.
You should expect from this podcast and other WSI resources that we're trying to make things simple to understand. So when we look at kind of what WSI is and how we simplify internet marketing, and we look at our product line, and somebody says we're not coming up anywhere. Okay, well, where should you be coming up? We offer something called search engine optimization. I would define that as the act of pursuing first page placement on major search engines like Google or Yahoo or Bing. But when people are searching for you or your business but don't know you by name. So let's say that you're a plumbing company and you want to make sure that when somebody's line is backed up, they go on and say emergency plumbers near me. If you want that to be you, you got to do some work to come up on the top of the list. It doesn't just happen. If you're a lawyer, if you're a manufacturer, a realtor, if you're a mortgage broker, I'm thinking of all of our kinds of clients, boarding kennel, nuclear testing equipment, like we've got a little of everybody, people. But if I needed my house painted and I didn't have a personal friendship with a painter, one of the ways I would decide who to hire would be to go on Google and type in things like best painters near me, where I'm looking for that. I would also look on Yelp and I would look at their reputation. I would also go to Facebook and I would crowdsource and be like, hey, friends and family, people I already know and trust. Who would you use to paint your house in Santa Rosa, California? And I look at the billboards on the side of the road and I look at all of these places where I'm absorbing content, I'm digesting messaging. And through all of these things, I'm deciding who I'm going to work with. So when we hear people that come in and say, you do SEO, you help us get found online when no one can find us but wants to, the answer is we do, but that's not always what you really want. It depends on your actual goals. And we'll talk about how to pick the right product in just a couple minutes. But what I will say is, beyond search engine optimization, which is a gestational product, so it takes time to work. So you would never do SEO if you needed predictable lead generation right away. So we do a lot of SEO as WSI, paid search. Maybe you're in a position where you do need traffic right away, you do need leads right away, you're willing to pay a little bit extra for conversion and for new clients, and you're willing to pay a little extra for immediate gratification. Great, we do paid search. Case in point, big storm coming in, it's going to get windy. Maybe you have or own a tree company or a tree service company. You should have already had a relationship set up with Nancee saying, hey, Nancee, when big storms come in, we see a surge of tree work that has to happen for the cleanup. 2 days before a storm comes in, we're going to be emailing you and saying, turn on that campaign, baby. and you can turn on the campaign when you know there's going to be a rush of business, and you can turn it off when you don't want to play in that arena. There's also reputation management, because what people say online about you stays online about you.
Yes, it does.
So if you're not purposeful about building your reputation, guess what accidentally happens? Your reputation accidentally happens. Design your day, design your week, design your life, design your reputation. We also do email marketing. WSI has great processes for email marketing. Tons of social media management, meaning managing your brand. How can WSI manage your brand, your culture, and communicate, engage, and stay on message with your friends, your family, your users, your prospects? So lots of social media stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then social media marketing, buying impressions on Facebook and making sure display ads are coming up. Those are the things that are in our WSI lane. There's also a ton of like marketing automation is a really big one right now. Video marketing is a big one right now. There's a lot of space for digital channels, but that's kind of a definition of digital marketing, what it is, what SEO is, how people think SEO is like all digital marketing. It's not. It's actually the most popular and traditionally most beneficial part of digital marketing. But it's like saying a plumber is a general contractor. No, SEO is SEO. So there's like SEO, paid search, reputation management, email marketing, social media management, boom. Digital marketing.
Right. And one thing you forgot in there, podcasts are digital marketing.
Yes, totally viable.
Right. So, well, now with all those products though, I mean, not everyone is right for every company. How does a company know what product is right for them?
Yeah, there's a couple of indices. That's a good question. There's a couple of indices that I would think are very important. Number one is goal measurement, and number two is budgeting. So here's some examples. I think maybe actual examples would make sense. Maybe you're a company that is saying, we need to create predictable lead generation and fast. Within 90 days, we want to be able to say, if we spend this, we are going to make that. Does it make sense to continue? Like, there's businesses like that, and that product would be paid search. That kind of product only takes a few weeks to build that campaign where you generate all these different ads and ad groups. And maybe, if you're let's go with attorney, because it's a good example. If you're an attorney and you do probate and you do trust and you do real estate law and you do litigation and you do family law and you have all these different kinds of buckets of your business, with paid search, we design, as WSI, we design different ad groups based around the different services of your business. And when somebody clicks on those ads, those text ads on the top of Google, they land on a page of your website that is directly related to that ad. So if it's an ad about probate law and they searched for it in the geography you want to be found for, and they clicked it, you may have just paid for that click, but they were in the area you're targeting, searching for a phrase you want to be found for. They like the messaging of your ad that is directly related to what they're looking for in the area you serve it, and you're willing to pay for that lead, hoping it becomes a client. That is called paid search. Results are, they get predictable at about the 90-day mark. That is a quick working, predictable product. That also means that once that campaign is built, like I was talking about with the tree guy or the tree gal, you can build campaigns based on seasons or based on situations and activate or deactivate them depending on when that situation is occurring.
All right.
Whereas the search engine optimization, that is a gestational product. SEO generally for a local campaign takes 6 to 12 months to work, and for a national campaign takes 6 to 24 months to work. So it's gestational. So if your posture is that of needing leads now, SEO isn't a good fit. Because SEO doesn't generate leads because it's a gestational product. It takes month after month after month after month of compounding work, month after month after month, to finally begin to move the needle for Google organically in the main part of Google. So one of the ways you can measure if SEO might make sense for you is, am I willing to wait for my leads, knowing that SEO generates the most leads out of any kind of internet marketing product on the market currently? So it's like saying, I'm willing to wait for my leads and pay every month while I'm waiting for this product to get enough momentum to where it will eventually give you the lowest cost per lead you can get out of almost any media online. So how do you choose? Well, gosh, I need leads right now because I just hired 2 new sales guys and blah, blah, blah. You need paid search. It's expensive, but it's predictable. I just hired a couple guys, but man, we're doing pretty good. And financials look good. Sales are coming in. I got enough work to kind of get them going. I want to build and grow, but it's more of like a long-term investment of growth. Okay, great. SEO makes perfect sense. When we talk about, persona development, marketing automation, reputation management, email marketing, all those kinds of things, those are a lot of those have to do with branding and what I call marketing lift. The more times I see Nancee, the more I'm going to believe she's great. The more times I see Nancee answering my questions, the more when I have a real question to ask, I'm going to go to Nancee, right? So the idea of marketing lift is this. I picked up my notebook like I was going to use it like a cell phone. So I'd be like, my wife calls me and I'm like, hello, this is Ryan. And she's like, put your work voice away, Ryan. This is your wife. I'm like, hi, honey. And she says, Ryan, our furnace isn't working. I need you to call somebody to get it fixed. So I go online and I'm like, okay, furnace repair near me. And I see 3 different companies. And I'm like, okay, cool. Then I go to Facebook and I ask people and they give me 5 different companies. And then I go look at Yelp and I look at maybe my top 5 recommendations and I have a couple of leaders. And then the next day I'm driving down the highway and I see that billboard on the side of the highway and suddenly I decide to call John Owens Heating and Air Conditioning. Well, I mean, was it the SEO that got the website to come up at the top of the list? Was it the 65-star reviews on Yelp? Was it that my friend on Facebook recommended them? Was it the billboard? Was it the color on the billboard? No, it was the combination of marketing that effectively changed the decision by the user, where you got in front of them enough times where they decided to use you. That is marketing lift. So when you look at the idea of how products work and how to choose the right one, goal measurement is a big part of it. Do you need leads right away? It's going to be more money, but we can get predictable. Are you willing to spend some money and build slowly? We can do that, and that's even more predictable, but it takes a little bit more time to work. Your reputation is bad. You need to work on your reputation. You're not using social media in real time during the COVID and pandemic to talk to your friends of friends, your prospects, and tell them what you're doing as a business, the changes that you're making as a business, the plans in the community that you have that you're making to volunteer and help. Like, there is right now never been more of a meaningful time to encourage products in your business that are real-time communication products. There has never been, in my opinion, and even though I've only owned this agency 13 years, I've been in the industry 18, and I'm 42. I got into this when I saw it coming. I was a kid. I was like, I see this. I know what this is going to be.
When you were 3?
I was 5 years old. Thank you. So going along the way, it's made it really, there's been staples in 15 years that have not changed dramatically. Businesses and websites hasn't changed. What they look like, what they do, having a website hasn't changed. SEO hasn't changed. How it's being done and the changes that Google is requiring regularly and complicating it is happening. But SEO is still critical. But when I look in the past at what was important, like SEO and paid search, and I'm looking now at what's happening and what's happening into the future, our local atmosphere and environment is now beginning to fold in social media and email marketing as primary products that are critical to a business, because those are the real-time communication processes between you, your prospects, or you and your clients.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I think that's also, it kind of brings me to my next question. I think for a lot of businesses, digital marketing, in fact, marketing in general is not their strong suit. And in many cases, they should be hiring this out. And can you tell me kind of like as someone, because I think what WSI does really well is strategy and helping people understand what it is that they should be using, when they should be using it, and why they should be using it. But what should someone be looking for when they are hiring a specialist? I mean, even if it's not WSI, what do they need to be looking at when they're hiring that person?
So it's kind of like the same thing if you're buying a car or anything like that. You kind of don't want to be the first person ever to drive a brand new car that no one's ever seen or heard of. So reputation matters. I know that seems crazy, but it's always, I want to discourage people from being the guinea pig for a really small solopreneur or small company. Right. So that's actually something that I really appreciated about WSI that was very different, was when I started my company 14 years ago, instead of me trying to figure out what would work, what wouldn't work, what were the processes, what are the successful tactics to employ, like WSI brings that to us, which is great. We are the face of the company, but we are being powered by the world's largest, most successful digital marketing network. So when I look at that, I think it lends to the breadth of why somebody would say, listen, reputation is important. I want to make sure that people are saying good things about this company that I'm going to work for, or about this person that's going to be my go-to person for digital. But the beauty of WSI is they could go to somebody that's brand new with WSI, a brand new solopreneur, and still get the 25 years of experience being powered through that brand new person. So I feel like sometimes reputation matters. Ask around and get reviews, but also price. Just because it's expensive doesn't make it great, and just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's a deal. So if you don't
Mm.
know what you're buying, you're probably buying the wrong thing. So one of the things I love about the way that WSI operates, like you said, is we try to be very clear about what we recommend and why, when to implore it, and what to expect from it. So I think that, um, I don't know, did that kind of answer your question about what to look for? I guess experience, longevity, and a successful pattern.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think, WSI itself, I mean, that is exactly why you go with WSI, is because they've got all of those things, and we're educational in nature. I mean, I think when we come into a company, we really want to help them understand how, what is best for them, and why, so, and it's what I love about working for WSI and actually having an agency with them. So now I've got my specialist. How do I actually know that digital marketing is working?
Okay. Another great question. The number one issue with digital marketing companies is their reporting processes.
Mm.
Let me say that again for all your listeners and viewers. The number one issue with digital marketing companies is their processes for reporting. And let me tell you why. They're scared to report. They're scared to tell you. They don't want to tell you, so they keep their reports nebulous. So this is a big difference. So WSI works very hard to be transparent in its reporting. And here's what that means. If we can tangibly and transparently, tangibly meaning touching it, so we want reports, but transparently meaning there's nothing hidden. If we can tangibly and transparently understand what's going on, we suddenly have the superpower to see where we're winning and where we're losing.
Mm.
Imagine that. True
Hmm.
accountability to marketing. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I would say reports are key. Like if you're hiring a specialist, you should be asking them what kinds of reports they
Yeah.
should be getting. And to give you just a brief synopsis of that, if somebody were to hire us as a WSI agency, their monthly reporting would involve a 3-minute video with their account manager summarizing all of the wins or losses on that month of campaign. It would have all of their conversion data saying this is how many phone calls were made, who they came from, how long they were on the call with you, what campaigns they came in from. We would be able to give you analytical data saying this is where you were last month versus the month prior. Here's where you were last month versus the same month a year ago. And here's what it looks like for the past 12 months compared to the 12 months prior. And there's more. So when I say if you're hiring a specialist, more reporting shows not just more transparency, but shows that they actually understand what they're doing.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, we are just about out of time, but one of the features of my show is that I ask all my guests to tell me how they employ digital marketing in their business. But in your case, it's pretty obvious that you use digital marketing in everything that you do. And in fact, that your business kind of runs on it, right? So, since that's the case, do you have a tip or trick that you might leave my audience with?
Yeah, so it's really been a lot of fun. I've had the honor of being on some shows, being a guest on shows a lot the past year. And one of the things that somebody recently asked me is what I've been up to. Like, what am I doing to effectively be getting the results within my agency that I'm getting? And the answer is I've been focusing for the past, well, really aggressively for the past year and a half, but almost the past 3 years on leadership development and growth,
Mm.
management and growth. Inside self-care, becoming a better me so that it affects everybody around me positively, self. So one of the things that I've really been thinking a lot about is there's this guy, his name is Craig Groeschel, Groeschel, Groeschel. And he
Okay.
has a leadership podcast. He actually has two different ones. One is a Life Church podcast, and one is a leadership podcast. But he said something a while back that I thought was cool. He said, "You cannot defeat what you do not define."
Mm,
And I thought that was really interesting because I talk about really regularly design my day, design my week,
mm-hmm,
design my life.
mm-hmm,
If I don't, guess what accidentally gets designed?
mm-hmm.
If you don't design your day, guess who designs it? Your day. So, having said that, you cannot defeat what you cannot define. So, what I've been working really hard at for the past year is being really clear with defining what I'm working on and trying to define what I'm trying to do. And I found that I'm working less and I'm working better and I'm being more efficient. So, I would just say a really fun thing, Craig Groeschel, Leadership Podcast. You cannot defeat what you do not define.
Well, and I love that because it actually does, it circles right back to digital marketing because it is what we do. We help people define what it is that they're doing in their business so that they can defeat the pain and the issues that they're having in their business. So that's a perfect, I love that tip. Thank you very much. And then one last thing, I know you also have a show called SEO on the Go. And I think this is an awesome resource for people, especially small business owners that might be running the marketing show for their entire business, to have a resource like that that they can kind of plug into and keep up on SEO. So can you tell our listeners how they find your show?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I actually have really incorporated video into almost every aspect of our digital business as well. And it's super fun. Go to YouTube, just search in YouTube for SEO on the Go. You'll find my channel, and I answer people's questions in 90 seconds or less, and it's always on the go. So they're quick videos.
Nice, nice. I love it. Well, okay, my friends, that is all the time that we have today. Thank you so much for joining me to talk about the meaning of digital in digital connections. In our next episode, we'll delve into the connection side of digital connections. Please make sure to follow us, subscribe, and like us wherever you get podcasts. And feel free to reach out to me directly at Nancee J at digitalconnections.us. And Nancee is spelled NANCEEJ at digitalconnections.us. You can find this episode and previous shows on our website at www.digitalconnections.us. Have a great week and tune in next time for another amazing digital connection for your business.